Hey everybody, it's your old buddy, Uncle Rich, live from Danbury, Connecticut. And guys, this is show number 286. Today's date, beautiful job. Look at Kurt's on the ball. Today is November 18th, and the name of the show is T.D.S. Now, guys, a lot of people are going to assume, well, like Uncle Joey said, it's called Trump derangement syndrome. So I asked our good buddy, Uncle Joey, I said, Uncle Joey, can you kindly explain to me what TDS means to you conservatives? Thanks. And guys, this was his response. It is a psychotic mental disorder most of you leftists became victims of the day Trump was elected your president. So guys, this is what Uncle Joey thinks TDS is, and I responded to him. I said, Joey, it happened before that. It happened before Trump became president, because all through the campaign we had fun with him. But we're going to have so much fun tonight, because I tell you, what we're going to do is we're going to take the Trump derangement syndrome and we're going to turn it upside down and ass backwards. And we're going to show you how Uncle Joey and Kenny Johnson and all their cohorts on Facebook get everything ass backwards. But we're going to have a lot of fun doing it. And we're going to try not to hurt any feelings. But when you have these preconceived notions and we destroy them by how? By telling you the truth. A lot of times people don't want to hear the truth. They don't want to hear what's wrong and what's right. They only want to hear what's Republican. And Uncle Joey is one of them. But we're going to start the show off with a clip from Bill Maher. And guys, he puts it the way I feel, because I want to tell you, sometimes my head is spinning. And the way things happen, and they happen so quickly. But we're going to start off with clip 00, and Bill Maher gets into the whole thing of an impeachable offense, and if there's smears and threats. And this is from the ambassador when she was testifying last week. And I tell you guys, this week is going to be party time, because, hey, the cards are going to be laid on the table and everybody's going to have to make a decision so the nonsense can stop, which I'm going to appreciate, because I don't know how much more of this I can take. I really mean that. So let's start off with number 00, and we'll just see what Trump's up to and if it's an impeachable offense. So, Kurt, hit it.
We have Maria Yovanovitch.
Can you turn my volume up out here?
Former ambassador for the Ukraine. She testified how
Beautiful.
Trump smeared her, and she felt threatened by him. And then while she was testifying to this, Trump shit-tweeted.
Can you believe
smears
this?
and threats while she was testifying to smears and threats, which is witness intimidation, which is an impeachable offense that he committed during his impeachment hearing.
So it's witness intimidation, which you committed during your impeachment hearing. I mean, how much more stupid do you have to be than to do something like that? But wait a minute. For witness tampering, some people have to pay the price. And those people that have to pay the price are usually some of Trump's closest confidants. So guys, look what happened to Trump's good buddy, Roger Stone, with clip number 01. Kurt?
Roger Stone became
Look
Donald
at
Trump's
that.
longest-serving political advisor. In the final prosecution of the Mueller investigation, Roger Stone was found guilty today by a Washington, D.C. jury on all 7
Guilty of
counts of
number
lying to Congress,
7.
tampering with a witness.
Witness tampering. Hey, isn't that the same thing that Trump just did? Kurt, can you go back to the beginning of that clip? There you go. Beautiful job, Kurt. Now, can you dissolve into still number 02? We're going to blow you away with this one, guys. Go ahead, Kurt. Dissolve into number 02. Nixon on his... Nice job, Kurt. Well done. Well played. I appreciate it very... Look at Trump's face. Ooh, Uncle Joey, don't drop the soap. Guys, but wait a minute. Roger Stone isn't an anomaly. No. He's the 6th person that works for Trump that's been convicted. I know. It's hard to believe, so we'll show you the video. Kurt, number 3, please.
So that's the 6th person in the president's close orbit convicted of crimes committed while in the service, we should mention, of Donald Trump.
Hard to, but 6 people so far have paid the price for sucking up to Trump. Now, do you think Sondland on Wednesday is going to perjure himself? Or do you think a billionaire investor is going to sit in prison for Trump? Do you really think that? Don't. Because he won't. Hey, when it comes to getting your ass locked up, billionaires ain't going to, one billionaire is not going to protect another one. It's that simple. So, so where did all this start with? And guys, this is from the hearings that are going on, and this couldn't be any better. So who started all this nonsense? Let's find out with clip number 4.
The American people see through all this. They understand the facts support the president. They understand this process is unfair. And they see through the whole darn sham. With that, I yield back.
They see through it's a sham. It's a witch hunt.
Thank you. I say to my colleague, I'd be glad to have the person who started it all come in and testify. President Trump is welcome to take a seat right there.
Boy. Shut him right up. Mr. Trump, we're more than happy to have you testify. And guys, I know you're not going to believe this, but I heard today, I heard it, and I saw it on Fox. I didn't see Trump, though. He called into Fox and Friends, and he said he'd be willing to testify in the impeachment case. Guys, I'm telling you, I wish I could have got the clip, but I'm sure everybody will have it, by tonight. And guys, I'm praying that Trump testifies. It'll be that moment, like that moment with, what was it, Captain Queeg with the strawberries? But anyway, guys, when I'm sitting home and some of this stuff happens, I have one of those head-turning moments. And the best way to describe it is to show you what Steve Martin went through when he found out his $250 check was worth $250,000. So, Kurt, number 5, please. Guys, I'm telling you, there are times when I'm sitting home That's what it feels like. I mean, so many different things keep happening. You can't keep up with them. I mean, when it comes to being a magician, Trump is a magician with keeping everybody involved. I'm telling you, this is the best soap opera that ever soaped. And we've got some key players, and some of those players just want to help perpetuate the rumors. And where would they perpetuate the rumors? Where else but on Fox? And by who else but Judge Jeanine? And who is she with? Now she's with somebody that supposedly represents Trump, but very rarely speaks outside of Fox News. I don't call it Fox News, sorry, my mistake. Outside of Fox TV. It's not news. It's Republican bull is what it is. But anyway, so we're going to have fun with Judge Jeanine, and it's Stephanie. Well, we'll play the clip and we'll have fun. Number 6, Kurt.
And there's no truth to the rumors that it was something else because the rumors are flying.
Oh, the rumors are always flying.
Of course the rumors are flying. When the president gets in a motorcade and goes to Walter Reed Medical Center on an unannounced visit, what the hell's going on? Is he having a nervous breakdown? Is his T.D.S. kicking in? Is it all catching up with him? Are the walls starting to close in? And guys, I'm telling you, something's happening, and we're not quite sure, but there's a lot of rumors, and we're going to help perpetuate them because we're going to just stir the fire a little bit and create a little controversy, which could lead to a conspiracy. Why? Because just like the Republicans always use their conspiracies, now we're going to flip it around, use the conspiracies on them, and have fun. So, Kurt, let's see what it's like to go 3 days without knowing where Trump is. Where do you think he is? He never made it back to the White House. Go ahead, play the clip.
And as a final note, while he was spotted walking into the motorcade on Saturday on the way to Walter Reed, he had no public events yesterday. He was not spotted. According to his schedule today, he has a couple of closed events, so reporters won't see him again.
Closed
so it'll be
events?
now third straight day where no one will have seen him in the aftermath of whatever happened on Saturday.
So he's having some closed events so we don't see him? Now, I'm sure he doesn't have the chicken pox. So what's the problem? Hey, Mr. Trump, if you're melting down, we've got good health care. We're going to get you Medicare for all. We're going to take good care of you. But guys, the next 2 clips are going to be, I'm not specific with the sources, but we're going to play the clips because they're a lot of fun. And if Uncle Joey and the Republicans can put up stuff without cited sources, guys, I could be wrong. I've just never heard of the next couple of clips that we're going to play. These are new sources to me. So who knows? Who knows? All right, so anyway, let's take a look at another excuse with number 8, Kurt.
Donald Trump and his handlers are now acknowledging that the initial excuse is falling flat, so now they're making up another excuse that doesn't remotely fit with the first excuse. There is now even more reason to suspect that Trump had some kind of health scare and that he's trying to hide it from the American people.
He's trying to hide it from the American people. You mean like hiding his tax returns? You mean like hiding everything else he hides? The fact that he doesn't want anybody from his office to testify, that kind of hiding, is that what he does? Well, you know, what are we supposed to believe? So, Kurt, let's find out what we're supposed to believe. Number 9, please.
Are we supposed to believe that Trump went to a military hospital to visit with a military family?
Oh,
and
what a
just
nice
decided
guy.
to get part of his annual physical done 3 months early while he was there?
Oh,
Have
what
any
a
of you ever
sweetheart.
visited someone in the hospital and then randomly decided to get some routine tests run for no reason while you were there? That's not how anything works.
That's not how it works. But you know what? Trump is surrounded by people that get paid a lot of money. Can't they come up with better excuses? I mean, really. I mean, hey, guys, if you need some help, Uncle Joey will volunteer. He's good at bullshit. I tell you, when it comes to bullshit, Uncle Joey is number one. Number one. Oh, and I keep giving him the business. I want him to put his show on his site. And he says he can't do it because I don't tell the truth. Once again, Uncle Joey loves getting everything ass backwards. But that was number 9. So we're going to play number 10, which is another one. And guys, this source is Andrew Vernon. It seems that the people that got the information from him weren't familiar with him, but they were, at least they admitted it. So let's find out who Andrew Vernon is, and why he seems to think that the dear leader had a heart attack. So Kurt, number 10.
Meanwhile, the Hill opinion writer Andrew Vernon tweets that sources tell me from Walter Reed the president was being checked out for chest discomfort.
Chest discomfort.
We're not familiar with Vernon, so we're not quite sure what to make of these claims, but it has gone viral.
They don't know who he is. They're not sure what to make of the claim. Hey, that's fine. That's fine. The Republicans do it all the time. Payback's a bitch, you know? And that's why we're calling the show T.D.S. Just so we can have some credibility and some surprises. And guys, the next clip we're going to show you is it's called Reality Check. And this is one thing that the Republicans hate. Facts. Facts and charts. Reality. You know, things you can prove, test, measure. You know, they don't want to know any of that. They just want to know what's Republican. So anyway, let's see what kind of surprises we have with clip number 11, Kurt.
It is times like these when the White House really needs to have credibility. Times like these, when the president suddenly turns up at Walter Reed Military Hospital, sparking concerns about his health and rumors about what's really going on. This was the Saturday afternoon visit to Walter Reed. It was not publicly announced ahead of time, nor was it scheduled in advance, the source tells CNN. So it surprised the press, and it also evidently surprised the medical staff.
Guess who's here?
So there are some serious questions here.
Guess who's here? Could you imagine this? The president's coming. What happened? What's going on? Oh, he's just coming here unannounced to give a vet some good luck before his high. Do you really expect us to buy this? Do you think we're that stupid? Give me a break, will you? And the next clip we're going to show you where Dr. Gupta at the end says, it's very curious. Curious? No, I got another word, but I'll give it to you after the clip. Kurt, number 12.
What are your thoughts about how this has transpired and what, you know, we should expect coming out of this?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a bit curious.
It's definitely a bit curious. Did you hear that, guys? It's a bit curious. Sounds more like a conspiracy to me. What are they trying to hide? And guys, it's all going to come out. It has to. It's not the crime, it's the cover-up. And guys, we do have one way. And this is for Uncle Joey. Because Uncle Joey loves charts. If there's one thing Uncle Joey always, Rich, show me some charts. So, okay, Joe, we're going to show you how we monitor Trump's feelings and his temperament. It's really pretty simple, but I think you can kind of figure it out. So, Kurt, number 13, please.
Twitter is sort of like you can monitor his feelings just looking at the number of tweets he sends. Look at this chart. The line of demarcation,
Look at
the impeachment inquiry begins September 24th. He didn't average over 200
mackerel.
before then. He now does an average under 200 after. You have seen an increase. Is that the best way to monitor the president's temperament these days?
Well, absolutely.
Uncle Joey. Kurt loves to throw those little charts in just to give you the business. But guys, we're going to end up with a clip from Eric Swalwell, and this is going to be from Now This, and this is going to be about, you know, like what I just mentioned. It's not so much what they did. It's the cover up and the way they're trying to cover it up. But guys, I got to be honest with you. Trump came out and admitted it. Now what are they going to do? Now what do you do? We'll find out on Wednesday, because something's going to happen. So, Kurt, number 14, please.
We are in the midst of a national nightmare.
You
we have
got
a president of the United States who has admitted to presidential extortion. And as I sit here right now, an ongoing cover-up is taking place at the White House.
It's bribery, plain and simple. And guys, we're going to have more fun with it. And now we go to the longer versions of the clips. So we're going to start off with the fun portion with Bill Maher. And I tell you, we're just going to let everything roll from here. So, Kurt, number 20, please.
Well, I mean, you're watching this impeachment thing. Okay, today was better than Wednesday. The first day was a little rough. Today we had Maria Yovanovitch. Did you see that? She was pretty good. The former ambassador for the Ukraine. She testified how Trump smeared her, and she felt threatened by him. And then while she was testifying to this, Trump shit-tweeted smears and threats while she was testifying to smears and threats, which is witness intimidation, which is an impeachable offense that he committed during his impeachment hearing.
What do you say? I'll tell you what you say. Play number 2, number 21,
while she was
Kurt.
testifying to this, Trump shit-tweeted smears and threats while she was testifying to smears and threats, which is witness intimidation, which is an impeachable offense that he committed during his impeachment hearing. Do you see why I need a vacation? Yeah, Trump went, this is what he tweeted. He said, everywhere Maria Yovanovitch went, it turned bad. She started off in Somalia. How'd that go? I've seen men blame some stupid shit on women, but Somalia? You know what else she couldn't fix? Charlie Sheen's love life.
Ooh.
He's attacking her for surfing in one of the most dangerous spots in the world. Most dangerous spot he's ever been in is a sand trap. You know, I see too many analogies on TV to Watergate impeachment hearings. This is very different. Watergate, Nixon said, I am not a crook. Trump says, I'm a crook, so what?
There you
That's
go.
a very different situation we're in. They have no real defense on the facts. Their defense is, stop picking on the poor guy.
Can you imagine that? Stop picking on the poor guy. No, you can't imagine it. So let's show you the final clip with Bill Maher on how Republicans think. Kurt, 22, please.
They have no real defense on the facts. Their defense is, stop picking on the poor guy. Poor Donald Trump. He was born rich. He doesn't pay taxes. He dodged the draft. He got to be president in an election he lost. When is he going to catch a break?
He's good, isn't he? I mean, they are good.
To distract us from all this today, Trump released a transcript of a different perfect call to the Ukrainian president. And in this new call, he doesn't commit a single crime. That's his defense. What about all the times I called someone and didn't commit a crime? This would be like Bill Clinton having the defense, I'd like to enter in evidence this photograph of Monica Lewinsky not blowing me. Anybody watching this yet? Okay.
Hey, remember last show? Non-evidence? Well, you don't have any evidence to prove this, do you? Yeah, but you don't have any non-evidence, do you? This is the way the simple folk think. Kenny Johnson. Hey, I think the asylum's been giving Kenny the computer. I think his monitor has been letting him use the computer a little bit more. Kenny, I love you. I love you. Hey, guys, you want to have some fun? Go on Facebook and just, I tell you what, just listen to what Kenny, read what Kenny has to say. He lives in Kentucky. No, he lives in Tennessee. I think he lives in Tennessee, but sometimes you might think he lives in another planet. But anyway, speaking of another planet, we're going to go to another clip with, and this is where when you surround yourself with criminals, guess what happens? So Kurt, number 23, please.
Richard Nixon is finally going to prison on Roger Stone's back. Roger Stone started his career as a Republican political operative 50 years ago in the era of his idol, the disgraced President Richard Nixon.
Hard to believe the loyalty of some people, isn't it?
For all of the crimes Nixon committed while president. Roger Stone became Donald Trump's longest-serving political advisor.
He looks scary there, doesn't he?
In the final prosecution of the Mueller investigation, Roger Stone was found guilty today by a Washington, D.C. jury on all 7 counts of lying to Congress, tampering with a witness, and obstructing the House of Representatives investigation into the Russian interference in the 2016 election. Roger Stone is now the 6th associate of President Trump to be convicted of crimes since the president took office. That is the fastest rate of criminal conviction of presidential associates in history. Who's next?
Who's next? Trump is winning, right? The fastest criminals in history. You know? I tell you, you ain't seen nothing yet. I'm telling you, this is the week. This is the fun time. But we're going to keep having fun with Judge Janine and Stephanie. And this is her idea of a press conference going on Fox News. No, I said it again, damn it. Going on Fox. This is her idea of a press conference. So, Kurt, 24, please.
But I do want to talk to you about what a lot of people are talking about on social media, and that is the president's visit today to Walter Reed. I understand it wasn't a scheduled annual visit. Can you tell us what it was?
Yeah, absolutely. We've got a really busy year ahead, as you can imagine. And so the president decided to go to Walter Reed and kind of get a head start with some routine checkups as part of his annual exam. That's all it was. It was very routine. We had a down day today, and so he made the decision to head there.
And there's no truth to the rumors that it was something else, because the rumors are flying.
Oh, the rumors are always flying. Absolutely not. He is healthy as can be. I put a statement out about that. He's got more energy than anybody in the White House. That man works from 6 a.m. until, you know, very, very late at night. He's doing just fine.
You know, Stephanie, he's almost superhuman. I don't know how anyone can deal with what he's dealing with. It's just, I mean, I get frustrated with what's going on in Washington. I mean, I want to throw things at the television, but I don't. But anyway, Stephanie Grisham, so good to have you on tonight. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you.
Oh.
He's almost superhuman. Yeah. Oh, he's such a hard worker. He's such a good bullshit artist. And you guys conspire with him and you kiss his ass. But we're going to have some fun because Morning Joe caught up with him. So, Kurt, number 25, please.
We have a right to know our president's health. And he's done nothing but lie to us about it. For several years, Ronnie Jackson was the most laughable. But tell us, we don't know what happened. What do you know?
We don't. But certainly the White House has credibility issues. So let's start there.
I've never seen the press secretary before.
Right, on the president's health, but also other matters. So what happened Saturday was strange. His previous 2 physical exams were announced well in advance. They were put on his public schedule the day before. The press pool that travels with the president knew where they were going, to Walter Reed and so on. What happened Saturday was not. There was a motorcade movement with the press pool. They were not told where they were going. They were not allowed to report it until they arrived at Walter Reed, which they did that afternoon. This was not advised in advance. This was deemed a partial physical, which is something that usually physicals are not divided in parts, at least not that I'm aware of. I'm not a doctor like others who have been on the show, but that's not my sense of it. This is also something, his last physical was in February. So we're nowhere near the year mark for this next one to happen again. And as a final note, while he was spotted walking into the motorcade on Saturday on the way to Walter Reed, he had no public events yesterday. He was not spotted. According to his schedule today, he has a couple of closed events, so reporters won't see him again. So it'll be now a third straight day where no one will have seen him in the aftermath of whatever happened on Saturday.
I mean, he's getting today, I think, an intel briefing.
Yeah, he's got a meeting. Yeah, right. He's meeting with the intel briefing and then the Secretary of State. But he's not supposed to have any events that are open to the press.
Right.
All right. In her recent column for the Washington Post entitled, "We Need a Second Opinion on the President's Health," Karen Tillety writes in part this: "The only thing of which we can be fairly certain about President Trump's mysterious Saturday afternoon trip to Walter Reed National Military Medical Center is this: the White House is not telling truth when it claims the president was there to begin portions of his routine annual physical exam. We know this because, well, because those people lie about pretty much everything.
There you go.
Medical privacy is something that should not be granted the most powerful person in the world. As Trump embarks on his effort to convince us that he deserves another 4 years in office, Americans should demand something more than what they are getting, starting with a briefing from the physicians who treated him at Walter Reed."
Well, that's not going to happen.
Fat chance. You think the physicians are going to come out and tell you that the president's nuts? that he's having a nervous breakdown? And guys, why did they do this on a Saturday? Think about that for a minute. Why did they bring him on a Saturday? Because guys, if they would have done this on a weekday, you could have taken 2,000 points off the market. Boom! Just like that. The market would have went berserk. What's wrong with Trump? What's going on? Boom! Sell, sell, sell. So they do it on a Saturday. And guys, most of the equipment that they have at the White House, they can test most of the stuff, but there are some things that they can't test. And that's what we want to find out. So now we're going to forge ahead with clip number. Now this is a little on the conspiratorial side, but guys, the only reason why I'm saying that is I'm not familiar with the source. So take it for however many grains of salt you wish, but you're going to find out that most of the information backs up the other information that backs up the other information. Guys, it just compounds itself. And you're going to see through the testimony that when everybody's singing the same song, they usually know the tune and they know what's going on. But anyway, so we're going to have some fun now with This Is America's News with clip number 26. Kurt, hit it.
American News Us. Donald Trump just completely changed his story about why he was at Walter Reed Hospital when Donald Trump was unexpectedly taken to Walter Reed Medical Center on Saturday. His White House inexplicably claimed that it was simply because he had decided to do part of his annual physical 3 months early. No one bought this absurd explanation, and it set off internet-wide speculation about whether he'd had a health emergency. Now Trump is completely changing his story. Shortly after midnight, Donald Trump posted this tweet, visited a great family of a young man under major surgery at the amazing Walter Reed Medical Center.
Why would you do
Those
this?
are truly some of the best doctors anywhere in the world. Also began phase 1 of my yearly physical.
Oh, stop
Everything
it.
very good, great. Will complete next year. Wait, which one is it? Are we supposed to believe that Trump went to a military hospital to visit with a military family and just decided to get part of his annual physical done 3 months early while he was there?
Is that what we're supposed to believe?
Have any of you ever visited someone in the hospital and
I
then
do it all
randomly
the
decided to
time.
get some routine tests run for no
I did it
reason while you
yesterday.
were there? That's not how anything works, even if you're the president. All this tweet
how
does
it
is
works
cast
for
even
Trump.
more suspicion on what really happened at Walter Reed. Donald Trump and his handlers are now acknowledging that the initial excuse is falling flat, so now they're making up another excuse that doesn't remotely fit with the first excuse. There is now even more reason to
So make a
suspect that
third
Trump had some
excuse
kind
up.
of health scare and that he's trying to hide it from the American people.
Just make up another excuse, that's all. But we're going to keep having fun with the next clip. Curtain number 27, please. Now, guys, I'm not familiar with this source either. First time I ever saw
Donald
it.
Trump was unexpectedly taken to Walter Reed Hospital. The White House claimed that he had spontaneously decided to get portions of his annual physical done 3 months early. A nonsense explanation which gives away that something is very wrong with this situation. Now the mystery has only grown deeper. For instance, CNN analyst Jonathan Wackrow explained that the White House Medical Unit has very comprehensive facilities at the White House complex that could easily accommodate most of what is needed in an annual physical, adding that this does not add up. Meanwhile, the Hill opinion writer Andrew Vernon tweets that sources tell me from Walter Reed the president was being checked out for chest discomfort. We're not familiar with Vernon, so we're not quite sure what to make of these claims, but it has gone viral. White House Press Secretary Stephanie Grisham claims that Donald Trump is fine and has returned to the White House.
She claims a lot of things,
but her
doesn't
consistent
she?
track record
What
of
can she
lying
prove,
means that
though?
she can't be believed. Tom Joseph pointed out that the White House press pool does not appear to have visually confirmed that Donald Trump actually returned to the White House. The bottom line is that we don't know
Guys,
for sure
that's
what's
the
going
question.
on, but it's becoming more and more clear by the hour that something is off here. Donald Trump could have had a major health scare tonight that the White House is trying to cover up. Or he could have staged the physical as a stunt to try to distract from his worsening impeachment headlines. Or he could be laying the groundwork for resigning over health reasons, while cutting a resignation plea deal. One thing is for sure, the Trump regime is terrible at keeping secrets, so we'll find out the real story eventually. Another possibility is that because the news is so bad for Trump right now, he's having the physical done as an attempt at a distraction, so he can force his military doctor to announce on Monday that he's in perfect health. But if this is the case, then it's a rather short-sighted stunt, as it's causing a lot of people to presume that there is something wrong with his health. And at this point, everyone just laughs at him whenever his doctor announces he's in perfect health.
So where's Trump? We might have to get Dora the Explorer to look for him. Guys, you know, Uncle Joey, what you... All right, now guys, the next clip we're going to play is from reliable sources, and it's a reality check. And some Republicans won't be able to understand this, so we had to play it in two parts. So Kurt, number 28, please.
It is times like these when the White House really needs to have credibility. Times like these, when the president suddenly turns up at Walter Reed Military Hospital, sparking concerns about his health and rumors about what's really going on. This was a Saturday afternoon visit to Walter Reed. It was not publicly announced ahead of time, nor was it scheduled in advance, the source tells CNN. So it surprised the press, and it also evidently surprised the medical staff. So there are some serious questions here. Trump returned home after a couple of hours. Maybe the White House is telling the truth, the whole truth, by saying this was just a routine checkup, just a jump start on his annual physical. Now that sounds unusual, but maybe that's the truth. Maybe Trump is in great shape. Hopefully that is the case. Hopefully all is well. But the White House squandered much of its credibility at the very beginning of Trump's tenure and hasn't regained it by any stretch. So we can't cover these stories like it's business as usual. This is not business as usual. This is an administration that makes up crowds and draws squiggly lines on maps and tells you not to believe your own eyes and ears. Just this week we found out that April's press release about Trump's first call with the newly elected president of Ukraine was inaccurate. The press release, known as a readout, claimed that the two leaders agreed to work together to root out corruption. But the rough transcript of the call showed that there was no mention of corruption. And now there's a fight over who was at fault for that. But the point is that the White House gives us new reasons to distrust almost every day. So skepticism is not just understandable, it's not just acceptable, it is necessary. At this point, it is actually irresponsible to just take Trump at his word. He gets numbers and facts and names and words wrong, and he actively misleads the public, and he expects his aides to do the same thing. This is all disappointing, I know, but as the Daily Beast's Sam Stein wrote this morning, when you've burned all of your credibility on big, medium, and petty matters, you will lose the benefit of the doubt on the important stuff. Yes, important stuff like the wellness of the commander-in-chief. Not to put too fine a point on it, but this is why public officials shouldn't lie to you.
So guys, Trump misleads you, and he gets his staff to agree with him. And then poor guys like Kenny Johnson and Uncle Joey, they don't know if they're coming or going. And they're not critical thinkers. They never look anything up. You know, the only thing they ever do is they just sit there and nod their head and agree. Oh, I heard it on Fox News. Oh, that means it's true. No, that means you heard it on, I said Fox News again. I heard it on Fox, that means it's true. No, there's a good chance that means it's not true. And we're going to try to prove it with playing part 2 of a reality check. So Kurt, 29.
Yes, important stuff like the wellness of the commander-in-chief.
The wellness.
Not to put too fine a point on it,
Sick
but
in
this
the
is why
head.
public officials shouldn't lie to you. And right now, Stephanie Grisham says she is not lying. She keeps going on Fox shows instead of briefings. She was on with Janine Pirro on Saturday night. She told Pirro that Trump is healthy as can be.
Of course.
When I tweeted out a quote from the show with Grisham saying this was just a routine visit to Walter Reed.
Just routine.
Grisham replied to me. Here's what she said. She said, thank you for helping me get the correct information out. Further speculation beyond the extensive and honest info I've put out is wholly irresponsible and dangerous for the country. You know what else is dangerous? This administration's culture of dishonesty. Let's talk about that now with the panel here in New York. Nicole Hemmer, Dan Rather, Abigail Tracy back at the table.
Culture of dishonesty.
Abigail, is this situation with Walter Reed? Again, I
Dan
definitely
Rather.
do not want to speculate. I know there's ridiculous conspiracy theories on Twitter that are a bunch of bull. We got to hope everything's fine, and maybe everything's fine. But this White House makes it hard to trust. That's the problem, I think.
Absolutely. There's absolutely been an erosion in their credibility time and time again. We've seen this where they issue a statement that then later proves to be false. So I do think everything they say or do does require that scrutiny and does require that microscope. And, you know, moving forward, I think it's reasonable that journalists are, you know, putting that scrutiny on the White House.
Yeah, I think they could answer some more questions and perhaps provide doctors to talk about why he's doing this annual physical early. Dan, does this remind you of anything from past presidents?
It does. When the Watergate noose was really tightening on Richard Nixon, all people have forgotten, he leaked out that he had an examination for phlebitis in his leg. It was right at the moment when history was catching up with him, when truth was closing in on him, and he had this strange phlebitis incident, which they leaked out. It was an obvious effort to get sympathy. That was the Nixon time. With President Trump, you've hit it right on the head. The press secretary can't argue about, well, listen, take us at our word, when she and the rest of the White House, including the president himself, have been so untrustworthy, so loose with the truth, opposite of the truth. You can't have it both ways. And I'm reminded of Lincoln's words, you can fool some of the people some of the time, but you can't fool all of the people all of the time.
All the time.
Which is what President Trump has been attempting to do.
You can fool some of the people some of the time, but you can't fool all the people all the time. Now, guys, don't quote me, and I'm not sure if P.T. Barnum said that. I think he's been attributed to saying that. But, you know, we're coming to you from Danbury, and part of the franchise here is Bethel. And Bethel is where P.T. Barnum was born and raised. So we're right there. So we've got the Trump flavor in this community. We're used to bullshitters. Hey, are we getting a call? Hey, look at that. Holy mackerel. Hello?
Hey, it was Abraham Lincoln, and the quote is, you can fool some of the people some of the time, and some of the people all of the time, but you cannot fool all of the people all of the time. That's Abraham Lincoln.
Thanks for calling in. Thank you. Guys, that's the type of audience we have. Thank you. See? Hey, it all works. It all works. So I got almost all of it right. But you got the right idea, right? And believe it or not, I was in the house where P.T. Barnum was born, and I'll never forget it. The lady actually lifted up the birthing table. I know. The birthing table was in the kitchen. And I'm sure everybody in the community, when they were getting ready to give, where do you go? Go to P.T. Barnum's house. They got a birthing table. Oh, yeah? Hey, when that's all you got, you're happy you have it. But anyway, now we're going to play some more facts, and we're going to show you Dr. Sanjay Gupta and what he thinks about this whole thing of Trump going unannounced to the hospital. So, Kurt, number 30, please.
The president heading to Walter Reed National Military Medical Center to undergo his annual physical exam a little bit early, according to the White House. In previous years, he's done it in January or in February the past 2 years. But what is more unusual today is the fact that it was unannounced. Reporters traveling with the president were under the direction not to report the movement until they arrived at Walter Reed. And in previous years, this has actually been publicly announced. It's been on his public schedule the day before, announced by the White House ahead of time. So a little bit strange circumstances. The White House has declined to say if there is any other issue at play here, instead directing us to the statement from the White House Press Secretary Stephanie Grisham saying that anticipating a very busy 2020, the president is taking advantage of a free weekend here in Washington to begin portions of his routine annual physical exam at Walter Reed. So again, according to the White House here, all this is the president getting ahead of things here, anticipating a busy year next year.
If you're going to lie to me, do it
bring in Dr. Sanjay Gupta. As we hear Jeremy's reporting, very little information, Dr. Gupta, about all of this. But again, 9 months ago was his last physical. Previous two have been announced ahead of time. This is coming on a day in which he just sort of jetted off, and we're all left to wonder what's going on, and only finding out after the fact that that's where he was headed. What are your thoughts about how this has transpired and what we should expect coming out of this?
Yeah, I mean, it is definitely a bit curious. I would like to know, did the medical team at Walter Reed, had they been planning for this, planning for a presidential visit to Walter Reed? Process, as Jeremy mentioned, did they know far ahead of time as they usually do, or were they sort of told about it today? That would be an important question to know. It's unusual in that it's early, typically it's a yearly physical. There's many routine tests that can be done at the White House. So if he's going to Walter Reed, what were the specific tests?
There you go. What were the specific tests?
Can be done at Walter Reed. If it can't be done at the White House, we know he has a common form of heart disease. Was there a particular test that was being done for that? Or, was he having some sort of symptoms? Nobody is suggesting that he had any kind of symptoms. But if someone goes into the hospital a few months early, I think that would be a reasonable question to ask as well. But I'd really like to know, when did the medical team at Walter Reed, who would, again, usually spend a lot of time preparing for this sort of thing, when did they know about this? And
can you imagine being one of the doctors there? Hey, the president's coming in. What? Yeah, the president's coming. What? Guys, you don't just do stuff like this on the spur of the moment. So what's the story? What's the story, Richie? But guys, we'll see if we can figure it out with part 2 of the clip with Dr. Sanjay Gupta. Kurt, number 31, please.
I'd really like to know, when did the medical team at Walter Reed, who would, again, usually spend a lot of time preparing for this sort of thing, when did they know about this? And again, we don't have the answer to that question right now.
Why would they spend a lot of time preparing? Explain that. Because a lot of us who have physicals, think it's just, one of those very routine sort of visits where you're asked a few questions, they listen to your heart, they ask you if you have any problems, and you're on your way.
Well, if there's particular tests being done, again, for example, we know he had a calcium coronary test in the past that measures the amount of calcium that's in the blood vessels going to the heart. That's how he was diagnosed in part with this common form of heart disease in the past. You just have to plan for these things. It's also the president, obviously, so certain things are in place when the president comes to the hospital. It's just, part of it is just procedural, but part of it is actual medical planning as well. That's why they need the heads up, I think. And as you'd expect, anytime the president's coming to Walter Reed, there's a fair amount of planning that goes into place. So I don't know. Did they have that? Did they not? Again, they may have known about this for a while. This was always part of the plan. They just didn't announce it. Or was it just, look, today is the day that I need to go to Walter Reed. And that's something that maybe we'll find out in the days to come. Usually we get a heads up on these sorts of things, but not today.
Today. And why is that? Because with Trump, you never know what you're going to get. But guys, with this show, you know what you're going to get. The truth. Hopefully the truth. Hey, you never know. I can make mistakes too. But I don't know. In 4 or 5 years of doing this show, I haven't made one mistake. I made more than one. But we're going to try to wrap up. We got 2 more clips. We're going to try to fit them in. So, Kurt, let's see. This is Uncle Joey's favorite. It's got charts. Number 32, please.
Back panelists here, Reuters White House correspondent Jeff Mason, Wall Street Journal columnist Peggy Noonan, Danielle Pletka of the American Enterprise Institute, and Eugene Robinson, columnist for the Washington Post. Jeff, the president is your day-to-day beat.
It is.
He claims he's not watching this, but we did a little, Twitter is sort of like you can monitor his feelings just looking at the number of tweets he sends. Look at this chart. The line of demarcation, the impeachment inquiry begins September 24th. He didn't average
Trump afraid of?
Over 200 before then. He now does an average under 200 after. You have seen an increase. Is that the best way to monitor the president's temperament these days?
Well, absolutely. I mean, if you talk to people in the White House, and I did in the last few days, people will say, "Oh, he's fine, he's happy, he's pleased with how things are going in the impeachment trial." But if you watch his stream of consciousness Twitter feed, you can tell that he's rattled, and that exposed itself really with his tweet about the former ambassador in the middle of the testimony on Friday.
Peggy, that is what struck me about all this week. You just sort of realize it's consumed him. He can't compartmentalize. Yes. Bill Clinton compartmentalized in ways that some of us are like, how do you do that, right? Almost overly so. Yep. This guy can't at all, to the point he had to force himself.
Into the hearing.
What he did at the hearing was what authoritarian people do. That was just a rough moment.
I think it was also very embarrassing and discomforting for his Republican defenders in the House and on that panel. Look, of course this thing is in his head. The president has said previously, I think we had it on the show, impeachment is like a dirty word for presidents. This is a big drama. I think he sees a House impeachment coming. If he watched part of this week, he knows TV.
He knows
the testimony
TV.
was
He's
compelling
really
for
gonna
anybody
know it.
watching closely. The people who testified were people of stature and accomplishment. What they said was believable. Brick by brick, they made a
stature and
case
accomplishment.
backing the
Trump
charge
doesn't
that the
understand
president
that.
muscled an ally to get
He's
a
a con
political
man.
gift that he wanted. So this was not good for him. And
this was not good for him. You're right. This was bad for him. And what's going to be worse is the impeachment. So we're going to play the last clip, and then Kurt will run out with the clip, and then you can run the credits, and then I'll say goodbye. But this is about the impeachment process. So let's see what's going to happen. Kurt, 33, please.
For the fourth time ever in American history, the House of Representatives is engaged in an impeachment inquiry into the President of the United States. But what does any of this really mean for our country?
Here's what happens
Inquiry,
next.
investigation, impeachment, all these words, they can get really, really confusing. So let's break it down. The inquiry is in its investigative phase. This means 6 House committees, including Judiciary and Intelligence, which I sit on, will continue to probe and gather evidence related to Donald Trump's collusion, corruption, obstruction, and abuse of office. But primarily, we are focused on his conduct relating to extortion with the country of Ukraine. So what really is impeachment? Well,
Extortion.
it refers to a vote by the House of Representatives to charge a high-ranking government official with misconduct, and it begins the process of removing him or her from office. You can think of it like a grand jury handing down an indictment in a criminal case where there still has to be a trial. The overall process of removing the president from office, which most people are referring to when they talk about impeachment, refers to the remedies for this lawless conduct, brought to us by the United States Constitution. The Constitution explains that removal from office requires a majority vote of the House of Representatives to impeach first, then followed by a 2/3 majority in the Senate to convict and remove. So you can impeach, but not remove. But to remove, first you have to impeach. The Senate would conduct its own trial.
Kenny,
and if convicted, the
Kenny
president
Johnson,
would
see
ultimately
how
be
that
removed
works?
from office. So a lot of people have asked me, why would the House move forward with an impeachment investigation if it may get
Guys,
stalled?
I especially want to thank Kurt.
We
He
should
really,
never prejudge.
I tell you, he's
what the
really
Senate is
stepping
going
up
to
to
do.
the plate, and
I
he's
came to
really
Congress and I
making
took an
things
oath
happen.
to defend and uphold
I
the
couldn't be
Constitution.
any happier.
And if I see lawlessness
And
or
I
my
want to thank
constituents
Dave and
believe that there's
Candy,
lawlessness where the
everybody
Constitution
involved.
demands
And for
and
people
my
that help
conscience
me with the
requires
clips
that
on
we hold the president
Facebook, I want
accountable,
to
I
thank
can't think
them.
about what the
And
Senate's
guys,
going
if you got any
and we shouldn't let the
ideas,
Senate off the hook
suggestions,
just because
you know, get
politically
with
right
me
now
on
we have
Facebook.
calculated they won't
It's
do
really
anything.
simple.
That's for the Senate
And next
to
week,
decide.
hopefully next
Good
week, we can
government
get the
depends on trust.
biogas.
The American
Because, you
people
know,
need
that's
to be
one
able
of
to
my,
trust that their government
that's one thing
and
that
their
really
president
gets me
are
going.
working for them
And
not for a foreign
I
government.
think I'm going to try to
or
get
to
my
enrich
daughter
themselves.
involved with the
We are in the midst of a national
home biogas, because she lives
We
below
have
the
a president
40th
of the United
parallel.
States who has admitted
So we'll talk about that hopefully
presidential
next week.